is Christopher Williams. I'm the Deputy Superintendent for Seattle Parks and Recreation, a job I love. I've been there for 25 years now, and it is truly a labor of love. More because I believe in the work and I believe in the mission of park and recreation and the benefits it provides to a city. Parks are for all, and we sort of live and breathe this Olmsted legacy that we've inherited, this concept that regardless of income, race, ethnicity, anybody can go to a park. Parks are maybe the most democratic feature in our society besides our libraries and schools. But parks have always been a source of controversy in our community, mainly because Seattle has always been a burgeoning, growing city, changing with the pressures that drive this city and that have driven the city since the 19th century, pressures that force the city to expand north and south. We have 465 developed parks. Since 1900, there have been 79 different funding measures to support parks in the city. And that really is a testament to how much people love parks in Seattle. Our combined operating budget for Seattle Parks and Recreation is a $242 million budget. Therein lies another expression of great community support for Seattle Parks and Recreation. The Seattle Park and Recreation system faces pressures like no other city department. The pressure to be all things to all people. However, recently, those pressures have shown up in a comprehensive plan context. And what I mean by that is the context for how the city operates, and it presents a whole array of social challenges like homelessness, sort of the pressure to cope with density in a city that has seen 1,000 people a month move here for the last couple of years. In fact, it's projected from the time period of roughly 2014 to 2020 that 40,000 people will have moved to Seattle. We are literally bursting at the seams, really forcing this density and sort of urbanist discussion. And Seattle Parks is a big part of that because what do parks do? We mitigate density. We make this a livable community to live in. We also have housing affordability issues in the context of who can afford to live here, and what is the character and the diversity of the city when people can't afford to pay rent here or buy a home. It really does change the character of the city, and particularly from a philosophical standpoint that parks truly are for all. Homelessness is another pressure that's driving how we manage the park system. Our parks were not designed to house homeless. There is a better, more comprehensive, holistic way to deal with that issue, and I think the mayor is taking good steps to take that on right now. And I would argue that Discovery Park is facing some of the same challenges within the context of being part of the Seattle Park and Recreation system. A little history about Discovery Park. The park, or rather, a history of changes in Discovery Park, I should say. The park used to be inhabited by the Shilsho tribe. They were forced out by settlers in the 1860s. The land was logged and forests were cut down in the 1870s. Farmers and squatters settled on the land up above the bluff. In the 1890s, an army post was established in the park. And in 1910, a vision for the park began to take shape. In fact, the Seattle Post-Intelligencer in 1910 published an article about the idea of a park. It would take almost 6. In 1970, Congress passed the BRAC legislation, or the Base Closure and Realignment Act, which authorized the military to transfer former military bases to city governments at no charge. Every idea under the sun emerged when that happened. The idea for a zoo, an aquarium, a police station, a hospital, and of course a golf course. Finally, in 1973, the former Army base was dedicated as Discovery Park. So therein lies a short history of the Seattle Park and Recreation system, some of the pressures we are facing today, and I think what I sort of want you to take from that is that parks are controversial. Parks require vision and some level of courage in order to think about the future of parks. And I like to think about the way we manage parks. It's not so much about what we do today, but what is the legacy we're leaving for the next 100 years, the next 200 years? And that's the way we need to be thinking about our Seattle Park and Recreation system.